Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Mr. C.K. Venkataraman on stage. Now it's time where we begin all about the Tanishq story. Here you go.
So, Vanakkam sir. Good afternoon.
Vanakkam. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I will start immediately with a very, very interesting anecdote from his book. तो हुआ यूं कि वेंकट जी जो हैं, he believes in management by walking around. तो एक बार वो अपने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फैसिलिटी में चक्कर काट रहे थे, तो एक बहुत ही एनर्जेटिक बंदा था. वो कुछ कहना चाहता था लेकिन उसकी अंग्रेजी इतनी ठीक नहीं थी. तो उसने वेंकट जी को पूछा, कैन आई टॉक इन तमिल? ही सेड यस ऑफ कोर्स. और उन्होंने क्या जवाब दिया? जब जर्मनी में एक जर्मन दूसरे से जर्मन लैंग्वेज में बात करता है, फ्रेंच आदमी फ्रेंच में बात कर सकता है, सो व्हाट इज सो ग्रेट अबाउट इंग्लिश? यू कैन टॉक इन एनी लैंग्वेज. तो हम वही फॉर्मूला अब यूज करने वाले हैं. हम हिंदी में बात करेंगे, इंग्लिश में बात करेंगे, तमिल में भी कर सकते हैं, और गुजराती तो कैसे भूल सकते हैं. तो उसमें ऐसा है ना,
थोड़ा और
तो એમાં એવું છે ને વેંકટ जी કે the guy who speaks Hindi makes 10 times more money than the guy who speaks English. And when it comes to Gujarati, sky is also not the limit.
100 times. Huh?
Sky is also not the limit. So that's the beginning. And all of you are from the gem and jewellery industry. So you must have heard about solitaire. Solitaire सबको पता है? तो solitaire की खासियत क्या है? It breaks the clutter, it shines, and you can say it is one of its kind. तो वेंकट जी is solitaire personified. लेकिन साहब, solitaire जो है, हीरा जो है, अंधेरे में नहीं चमकता. उसको चमकने के लिए रोशनी चाहिए. आप सब वो रोशनी है जो हीरे को यहाँ चमकाएगी. आप चाहते हैं तो ताली बजा सकते हैं. तो सर, Tata Group is one of the only business houses in India which has given to the corporate world and to the public at large so many authors. Senior leaders from Tata Group have written books, some of them being N. Chandrasekharan himself, then R.M. Lala, R. Gopalakrishnan, Harish Bhatt, Mukund Rajan. There is a lady, Sonu, what's her surname? Sonu Basin. There's a lady who has written a book along with Mukund Rajan. So, and how can I forget L. Natarajan and our friend Shivramji. So all these people have written wonderful books. So now, since you have written a book, you are a certified intellectual now. So give him a big hand, please. तो मैं आपसे यही पूछना चाहता था कि आपने जो किताब लिखी, कितनी कॉपीज बिकी हैं अब तक?
प्रिंटिंग तो हुआ 7,500.
ओके.
सेल पता नहीं.
अच्छा.
जहाँ भी जाता हूँ, हाँ ठीक चल रहा है.
हाँ.
वैसा खबर मिल रहा है, लेकिन नंबर तो गिना नहीं.
अच्छा.
बट इट्स ओके.
So numbers don't matter to you. So what I wanted to know from you, that you have been going at various forums. And I think you have been to 3-4 places for this book session. So what was the best compliment you received so far?
I think the best one was actually a comment on Amazon.
Okay.
By a customer of Tanishq, 20-year customer, Bangalore customer of Tanishq, who said, you know, I had written about the customer experience in Tanishq and how very special. There's a relationship between customers and the staff. It's almost like a family. And that person spoke about that and said, what Venkat has said in the book is so true. And I've been having this relationship with the Jayanagar store staff for 20 years. And they're like family to me. तो मेरी शादी में बुलाता हूँ उनको, घर पे कभी-कभी आते हैं. So he sort of reinforced the point I was making in the book. And I think that was that ऐसा नहीं था कि, you know, it was just my saying so. There was a customer who deeply underscored what I was saying.
Okay. So what I would request all of you, he has already spoken at 2 forums which I had witnessed the recording. So one of them was the founder of Marcellus, Saurabh Mukherjee. And the second one was Nijesh Shah at Sapna Book House, Bangalore. They were so prepared, you know. तो आपने मेरा काम मुश्किल कर दिया और most of the points are covered. So I would also try to innovate because today what is the theme? Leadership and innovation. आप leadership करिए, मैं थोड़ा सा innovate करने की कोशिश करता हूँ. So we would like to have this as a conversation. I am not saying just because, you know, it's a in thing to say a conversation. So what we'll do is we have requested people to ask questions. But one of the gentlemen is sitting right here, Sanjay Kalsi, and he has asked 3 questions. So what we'll do is little differently. We will address his questions during the Q&A session. But if I have your permission, we would like to ask you a question. So can you give him a mic, please? कोई इनको माइक दीजिए प्लीज. बुलंद है. अच्छा.
Good afternoon.
So you have read his book twice.
Yes.
पहली बार समझ में नहीं आई क्या? ये कपिल शर्मा का क्वेश्चन है.
इसीलिए दूसरी बार पढ़ने लगा.
नहीं. So you know, as a brand, Tanishq, I've always been very inspired by, and so it was more than the author, the brand also. I'll be very honest with you. So there was in the first read, I always feel I'm fond of reading books. You miss out on a lot of things, you know, some points. And I bought the book when I was traveling to Bombay. On the flight, I read most of it, and once I reached home, I was done with it. So the second time was more serious, and so it was very nice to read. Some of the people I've met over the few years, I've learnt a lot from them. Namely LRN sir and you know, lots of other people, and it was so nice when you mentioned their names and what their contributions to Tanishq have been. And you know, you talked about lots of things which as an entrepreneur are very inspiring. So you know, coming from somebody who's at the top of the, you know, heading the brand was very inspirational. Thank you.
Thank
तो
you,
मैं
thank
सवाल तो मैंने अभी तो पूछा ही नहीं.
पूछो सर.
सवाल ये है कि जब आपने किताब खरीदी,
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
तो आपने पहले तो कवर देखा होगा.
हाँ.
तो जब आपने कवर देखा, तो आपके मन में क्या ख्याल आया?
सर
Anything that came to your mind when you saw?
So you know, so आपको सच बोलूं, I'm a first generation entrepreneur, and now I can categorize myself as a family jeweler. So Tanishq as a brand learned a lot from us, and you know, made a name for themselves and set benchmarks in the industry. अब हमारे सीखने का टाइम है. अब के हम कैसे सीख सकते हैं और improve कर सकते हैं, which is a compliment. I mean, it's nothing, not as a competitor, but as somebody whose brand is setting benchmarks in the industry. So वही समझ के पढ़ी, वही समझ कर ये अभी तक काम कर रहा हूँ.
नहीं, एक मिनट, मैं एकदम सीधा डायरेक्ट सवाल पूछता हूँ.
डायरेक्ट
ये विजुअल देख के आपके मन में क्या आया?
सर विजुअल देख के तो ब्रांड ही आया सर, सच बात.
Anybody else who has read the book? No? Okay, but anybody who's seen the cover and would like to contribute कि ये कवर देख के आपके मन में क्या ख्याल है? हाँ, प्लीज.
ज्वेलरी का एक मार्केटिंग कैसे किया जा सकता है, एक्ट करता है.
ओके, तो मतलब ये फोटो देख के आपको अंदाजा लग गया?
फोटो पढ़ के आएगा ना.
अच्छा. Anybody else? Yes, yes, please.
From the picture, I can imagine what is the story, how Tanishq started and how high it has reached. It is the entire story, how step by step they have reached to the highest level of the industry.
Good. Any product person here? No product person. ज्वेलरी देख के कुछ दिमाग में आया? जरूरी नहीं है. आप कल्चर. ओके.
सर पहला चैप्टर पढ़ के समझ आया कि कोहिनूर से शुरू हुई थी.
Okay.
Which was very nicely.
नहीं, there is no right answer because
it was very nice.
सबका नजरिया अलग होता है. So
Thank you.
तो मैं तो बस आपका just I want to share my views when I saw this cover. So I said, ये तो सबका साथ सबका विकास है. यहाँ पर तो emeralds भी है, diamonds भी है, सोना भी है. And somehow it reminded me of Jaipur because that green emerald is so strong, you know, it stands out. Anybody from Jaipur?
Yes.
जयपुर है भैया यहाँ पे, एमरल्ड कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया. ओके, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं.
I am also into emeralds only.
ओके, फैंटास्टिक. चल, हाँ.
I am marking का तीसरा.
तो बस ऐसा ही पार्टिसिपेशन चाहिए, नहीं तो फिर रूखा सूखा बोरिंग सा हो जाता है. तो आगे बढ़ते हैं सर. आई मेंशन्ड आर गोपालकृष्णन नेम. ही इज़ माई मेंटर, ही इज़ माई रोल मॉडल. तो मैंने उनसे जब उनसे पूछा कि आपका नाम क्या है, पूरा नाम, तो उन्होंने कहा कि विलाकुड़ी, रामभद्रन, गोपालकृष्णन, अयंगार. तो विलाकुड़ी स्टैंड्स फॉर द नेम ऑफ द विलेज. हाँ, लेकिन उनका नाम पूरा है. तो विलाकुड़ी इज द नेम ऑफ द विलेज वेयर हिज एंसेस्टर्स बिलोंग. रामभद्रन इज हिज फादर्स नेम, गोपालकृष्ण इज नेम, एंड अयंगार इज बिकॉज दे आर वैष्णव. तो आपका पूरा नाम क्या है?
Coimbatore Krishnamurthy Venkataraman.
वेरी गुड.
And I'll tell you, it's not a joke, but it's a thing I suffer many times. So for some reason, in Tamil Nadu, you don't have surnames, just have a name. So Venkataraman is my name, that's it. Coimbatore Krishnamurthy happens to be the expansion town and father's name, like he said. So in my passport, for some reason, Coimbatore Krishnamurthy has become the surname. Okay, not Venkataraman. So it gets printed on the boarding card, and sometimes they forget to put a space between Coimbatore and Krishnamurthy on the boarding card. So you can imagine a string of letters, Coimbatore and Krishnamurthy, without any break, and an air hostess from some other country trying to invite you into the... She looks at it and looks at me and says, okay, go.
तो सर,
that is Coimbatore
तो
Krishnamurthy.
जनाब, मैं तो इतना ही कहूँगा, काफ़ी बड़ा नाम है और आपका काम भी बड़ा है, लेकिन आप बड़े मॉडेस्ट हैं. CKV, वेंकट. तो इसमें आपकी पर्सनालिटी को...
Otherwise I'll be in trouble. Now, if I have to get everybody to call me by the full name, I won't get anywhere with it. People will say, please don't work with me.
So when you wrote the book, I think you must have finished the draft. तो आपको सबसे पहला कौन था जिसने आपका ड्राफ्ट पढ़ा?
My younger daughter. So she read it and she said, look, it's very interesting, but what is in it for me? It is all about Tanishq and your team members and what you all did together. All the stories, and the stories were by and large the same, which are finally in the book. She said, but what's in it for me? I'm not part of Tanishq or Titan. I'm a person of the public. I may be working somewhere, whatever it is. She is. There's nothing here for me. So you need to make that happen. And that was a very important feedback. And I was in the early stages of, it was my first book and I was not even aware. But I realized that I need to make it useful for the reader, make it worth it for having read it in a way. And then the same thing with my publisher also happened, because I was sort of simultaneously sharing it. So she also said, look, and Devanshu Datta, who's editor at Jagannath, both of them said that it's all there, but, and in a way the lessons are also there, but they're sort of hidden. So you need to do those two parts. And that's how I ended up doing it.
तो आपने पद्मा का तो बता दिया फीडबैक. भारती जी ने क्या कहा?
नहीं, she read it only after it was published.
ठीक है.
That's my wife, by the way.
मैं तो ऐसे कह रहा हूँ जैसे मैं उनको सालों से जानता हूँ. लेकिन you have to build a common ground, so that's what I'm trying to do. तो ये तो बात होगी आपकी किताबों की. और मेरे, as far as I am concerned, ये किताबों की अहमियत ज़िंदगी में क्या है? So what do you need to survive and prosper in life? Food, clothing, shelter. रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान, उसमें जोड़ दीजिए किताबें. Because I think books are a fantastic companion. You learn a lot. Books should be interesting. They need to engage. They need to entertain. They need to educate. Entertainment is very, very important because wisdom is often disguised as entertainment. ऐसा मेरे गुरु ने कहा. One of my gurus is Amin Haq, fantastic business storyteller. And your book does that. So give him a big hand, please. तो अभी आगे बढ़ते हैं, अपनी जर्नी बढ़ा रहे हैं, थोड़ा लीडरशिप के बारे में, आपके फॉर्मेटिव ईयर्स के बारे में जानना चाहते हैं. See, normally what happens is, whatever you learn during your formative years, it stays with you, and it gives you a direction, or it has a greater implication on your onward journey. So if you could tell us about your formative years before joining Titan, your stint with Sarabhai, your advertising stint. So please begin.
Honestly, nothing really remarkable to share from that period.
You didn't learn anything?
I mean, nothing I can really think of. I think maybe the whole relationship building with people,
Okay.
making a lot of friends. I don't know if I learnt it, but if I can think of something like that. And of course, the advertising, made me realize the power of the brand and what a brand can do in any industry, how much value it can deliver to the organization through its premium and all that, and how it can differentiate itself from others and get loyal customers coming year after year. So the branding, which I was not at all aware before I joined the advertising industry. And that's the one thing. And working with people effectively, building relationships with people to get them to do work for you as peers, as team members, all that kind of thing.
So in the Tanishq story, you vividly mentioned about your mentors, Bhaskar, Justice Desai. But those came later in your life, and they of course contributed you towards your success. But have you learned from somebody who's younger in age, who's reporting to you? Because I'll give you an example. I mentioned about R. Gopalakrishnan. He has vividly mentioned about the learnings which he had from a gentleman by the name of Bhau Phansalkar. He was a very elderly salesman, and he has written vividly that when he joined Hindustan Lever and he was sent to the field, in dusty villages and all, and he learnt a lot from that particular gentleman, Bhau Phansalkar. So today, a lot of people talk about reverse mentoring. So what are your thoughts? Does anything come to your mind?
Nothing really. I'm sure there is something which had an impact on me, but maybe because we are all conscious about learning from people who are senior to us,
Okay.
and thinking about that actively, those stick really, and you're able to recall and in fact pay respect also to that role they've played. But I don't really recollect like what you're saying.
So, आपकी किताब में बहुत दिलचस्प किस्सा है कि आपके करियर में एक ऐसा दौर आया कि आप टाइटन छोड़ के जाना चाहते थे, और फिर आपकी मुलाकात हुई, आपके बॉस थे बिजू. बिजू ने बोला कि रुक जाओ, आपने माना नहीं, फिर आपका इस्तीफा जो है वो जस्टिस देसाई के पास है. तो क्या हुआ ज़रा बताइए, लोग सुनना चाहते हैं.
So this was in 2000, and I had somehow 10 years into Titan, and I think we were not doing so well. Even in the watch business was a little flat, struggling for growth, and I was the marketing head of watches, and must have affected my sense of achievement. I don't remember now, but whatever it is, the Levi's company reached out through some consultant, and I decided to join them as head of marketing, and put in my papers, and Biju was my boss, Bhaskar was his boss, Mr. Desai was MD. So Biju and Bhaskar tried to make me stop, but my mind was made up. They had a lot of logical reasons to offer. Then Mr. Desai called me, and he just took off on me actually. He shouted at me, saying, "How dare you leave family?" And threw me out of the room and said, "You go and tell them you're not joining them. Come back. Till then, don't come back." So I just came out of the room, and I was so unsettled with the word that he used. Till then, I had never thought of Titan as a family. It was a wonderful company, of course, but I never thought of it as a family. And came out of the room and I said, yes, how can I leave family? That's what I realized. Immediately went home, told my wife, called Levi's HR manager and said, sorry, I'm not joining. And this was a Friday evening, and Monday morning, I came back and told Mr. Desai, I'm back. And this nobody knew, of course. In 2016, he passed away. And then I told the whole company that this is what. So he did this to me in 2000, and today I'm the CEO of Tanishq. I mean, I could have been maybe some country manager of Levi's somewhere if I had gone. But the CEO of Tanishq in India, I mean, what a precious gift that he gave by doing that to me. And of course, later I sat in his seat in 2019, which is even more special, but I didn't know it then. But so this story is a very famous story in Titan also. Now, of course, it's in the book as well.
वेंकट जी, लेकिन आप कुछ छुपा रहे हैं. बताओ मुझे क्या लगा, आपने बताया नहीं आपकी तनख्वाह कितनी बड़ी, वो तो बताया नहीं, इंक्रीमेंट कितना मिला.
उसी साल जनरल मैनेजर हो गया था ना.
अरे वाह, फैंटास्टिक.
लेकिन 3-4 महीने के बाद मिल गया मुझे, लेकिन वो एग्रीमेंट नहीं था.
अच्छा,
वैसा ही मिल गया.
तो एक दो अहम चीज़ें हैं, मैं थोड़ा सा कहना चाहता हूँ कि जहाँ तक लीवाई स्ट्रॉस का सवाल है, यू कांट ऑलवेज विन, यू विन सम, यू लूज सम. दे मे हैव लॉस्ट अ वेरी प्रेशियस और व्हाट डू यू कॉल सितारा, उभरता सितारा थे अब, लेकिन दे गॉट अ लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर. ये देखिए आप लीवाई स्ट्रॉस पहने हुए. So
in fact, one of the reasons for my joining Levi's at that time, and I was never into jeans till then, more into, what do you call those, with those pockets? Cargos. So the style in those days was more cargos. So I was imagining now joining Levi's and every day wearing jeans to office, which of course I could have worn in Titan, but I didn't at that time. But I didn't join Levi's, but immediately started wearing jeans to Titan and never stopped.
So one thing in your book which you have mentioned about being good, so I can vouch for it that I have been in the industry for a very long time. I have interacted with various people in Titan, and my experience with Bhaskar. He used to attend, I was in the watch industry that time. If you wanted to meet Bhaskar, किसी भी डीलर के यहाँ शादी है, आप पहुँच जाओ, आपको भास्कर जरूर मिले. And he used to talk to you very nicely, politely. You used to remember your name. फिर अजय जी, सुबह 5 बजे मैसेज भेजो, जवाब आ जाएगा. आपने भी जवाब दिया, कभी कभी लेट दिया, लेकिन आप मसरूफ रहते हैं, कोई बात नहीं. So like Biju, I have known people across the organization. Watch business हो या फिर eyewear हो या फिर jewellery हो. They have been very nice people, and not only people who are in Titan, but people who are outside the Titan ecosystem, but part of Tata Group. R. Gopalakrishnan always responds. And one of my role models is a gentleman called Raghunath Mashelkar. He is on your board. I have met him only twice, and I wanted to invite him for a leadership talk. In 10 minutes, I got a reply from him. He told me that it is not possible, and he gave me the reason also why he is not able to make it. So here I just want to make a point to all of you, because I am part of this industry. हमारे यहाँ तो जवाब ही नहीं देते. तो जवाब नहीं आया मतलब ना है, तो ना बोल दो ना, आपको थोड़ी कोई फांसी देने वाला है. So that is something which I have learned from Titan and his employees. But now comes the loaded question. ये जो आपके values हैं, how do you communicate those values across the organization, and how do you ensure that they are implemented? It's a loaded question. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, these days it's become, and over the last many years, it's become reasonably simple, I would say, because Titan has tended to attract people of that thinking, that value system, that philosophy, and which central to that is that all the stakeholders of a business enterprise actually come before the shareholders. And if the stakeholders get their equitable share of the value that the enterprise creates, they end up maximizing shareholder value. I think that it's almost like a formula, if I can call it. But before it became a formula, it was a view, it was a value. Certainly exemplified, maybe started and certainly exemplified by Bhaskar Bhatt over the last 23 years since became managing director. And that has become institutionalized, and it has become institutionalized because A, people who believe in that are there in the company in every level. B, they all stay in the company for a very, very long time, in fact almost forever. I mean, if you take Ajoy for instance, Ajoy and I are more or less, I'm 35 years in the company, Ajoy is 34, so we just maybe 6 months less than each other. And there are the people who are in my direct team, the average tenure in my direct team would be about 26, 27 years. If you go to the next level, direct, Unka direct, it will be some 21, 22 years. That's only because they are 50, my directs are 55, and somebody next one will be 15 years, but that's because they're 45. Mm-hmm. So it's only the age that is limiting the number of years in the company. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll become 20 and 25 as time passes. So therefore, this whole value system is very deeply embedded in the company. Therefore, it happens automatically. There is nothing to do. So you gather people who think like that, who have no ego. That's a very, we don't sort of say it like that, but generally you find that people in Titan don't have ego. You are not about yourself. You are about the common purpose. The common purpose could be a team. The common purpose certainly is the company and the group. And therefore you're doing everything for the good of the company, for the good of the team. And that, if you just take that approach, actually so many things automatically fall into place, and therefore this whole, being good is good for business. And, I wrote it in 2021 in the annual report when the whole COVID experience, because like Ajoy became CEO, I became MD on the same day, 1st October 2019. Few months after that, COVID hit. So I was looking at the worst quarter in the history of the company, as of course every company was, but I was CEO of the company only for 6 months. So it was my almost worst quarter kind of thing. But we said we are not going to worry about the loss and minimizing the loss at all. We are only going to worry about the people of the company, the off-roll employees of the company, the partners, both franchisees, vendors, the communities, the CSR work that you're doing, that also should not suffer just because we are in a bad. So we went all out to, give them confidence, give them reassurance, give them money, give them loans, whatever was required to keep this entire 70,000 people today, maybe 50,000 that time, on-roll, off-roll, partner, whatever you call it, but anybody who is working for Titan in direct, indirect ways. They simply, and it was a natural thing for us to do. They simply took the problems of the company in their hands, and over the next 7-8 months just turned the whole thing over and took, and the shareholders ended up benefiting substantially through the efforts of those stakeholders. So that is the being good is good for business in a synthesis of that approach.
So there are two things I would like to say. One thing is you shared a very important, interesting insight that nobody leaves Titan. Okay. So India is a young nation, and so much is being talked about millennials. So when do you foresee a millennial becoming an MD of Titan? Because I can't see, because there are so many people. So just a hypothetical question, but a very valid one.
Very, very difficult to answer that question because, it is some time away, first of all.
Okay.
Yeah, so very difficult to answer.
So another thing is, what I like about Titan is the number of ladies in leadership positions. You have Suparna, you have so many other, Revati, then you have Ranjini, then you have Amanpreet, and there are so many other ladies, and which is a very good thing. Having said that, we find a very few ladies in this auditorium, though jewellery industry is all about ladies and ornaments, but we feel a very few ladies in the auditorium. But I think that's
They're all out there buying, no?
yeah, they are buying. But then I just want to mention on your behalf that any ladies who want to make a career in Titan, please, he is going to be here. And the Titan senior management team is also here. Another thing is, this is being talked about. I am just, it's not my view, but people are saying that, Titan is about elitist company. Bhaskar Bhatt, I am. Aap, I am. Senior management के लोग, Biju was I am. He is also I am. तो बाकी लोगों को स्कोप नहीं है क्या? तो MBA है और वो भी IIM. तो आगे का है, मैं तो यहाँ अभी आपको दावे के साथ कहता हूँ कि अगला MD भी IIM वही होगा. वो शायद अहमदाबाद हो, कलकत्ता हो, बैंगलोर हो. तो what is about IIMs? It's partly humor, partly serious question. So depends on how you take it.
So actually, if I think back to my 2 years of MBA, and like what did I finally learn there,
Okay.
which makes me or made me better when I started working, honestly, it's not much. But it opened the door for me into the corporate world like nothing else could have. And in a way, what the IIMs or IITs or any such set of institutes do is they end up picking people on the basis of their intellect. Because it's about finally how you clear the exam, whether it is maths or English or whatever it is. And those exams test your intellect. And then the people who get the higher marks are, and if you do well in the group discussion, you get selected. So essentially, it is about a shortlisting of people by intellect. That's all. It is not necessarily because to actually be a leader in any organization, corporate or otherwise, you need skills which are a mix of things. You need to be a very good communicator. You need to be able to evangelize people towards a common purpose. Intellect is not necessarily enough or a necessary condition for that. So therefore, the door opens to companies or wherever, because companies come there because they're looking for, and of course, it has become a, let's say you could say fashionable or whatever to go there to get the people. I mean, the best. But the intellect is sitting there because the filtration process makes sure that the more intellectual people are in the institute. So that I lucked out and got into Ahmedabad. And therefore, some companies came knocking, I could get in there, which I wouldn't have got in. Whether I could have succeeded as well as I have succeeded, without that, I could have actually. Because it is not that it taught me something which helped me. It just sort of filtered me and gave me an opportunity which, as a layperson, I wouldn't have got outside. So that's a problem of the world. There's a very powerful book, The Tyranny of Merit.
Yeah.
If you have read it, you should read it. It's a fabulous book relating to why is college education given too much importance.
Okay. So Titan is a very, very successful brand. But it is not a strong brand. By strong brand, I mean, it's my interpretation, that it polarizes people. Either you like it or you don't like it. But Titan and Tanishq, all these brands within Titan ecosystems are very amiable brands, and as you say, which is actually an enigma, because it has Titan and its brands, Titan Tanishq interchangeably use kar raha hu, it has cast its net wider, and it appeals to so many people, across the spectrum, whether young, old, across religions, across geographies and all that, which is itself is a sort of a miracle. And as I see it, it is the success of storytelling, business storytelling, according to me. And what Titan has done is, it has created experiences. What is an experience? Experience is basically a memory. So when you talk about memories, memories always stay with you. All other things are temporary. So when you are buying a product or jewelry, sometimes it is going to be there in your closet, but the memory is associated with it. So Titan has very effectively done that. So with your permission, I would like to show a small video अबाउट रीवा. तो जरा रीवा का जो एक वीडियो है जरा बताना. नीलेश, वेयर आर यू नीलेश? देयर इज अ वीडियो रीवा. प्लीज प्ले फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. नीलेश, वो रीवा का वीडियो जरा. इसलिए मैंने बोला था डाउनलोड करके रखो. हाँ, दिस इज द वन. ऑडियो.
प्यार दिया पगला.
काल रात्री तुझी आई खूप रडत होती. तेव्हा मी तिला समजावलं, अरे पुण्यात मुंबईला तर चालली आहे, यात रडण्यासारखं काय आहे.
हो कैसे कहूँ मैं समझ ना आए. प्यार दिया पगला.
অ্যাকচুয়ালি ছেলে তো আমারও চয়েসের, কিন্তু তাও আজকে জেলাস ফিল করছি.
उतना ही ये कम लगता है जितना कहते जाए. क्या क्या कहना था अब देखो, क्या क्या ना कह पाए.
सब काम छड़ून खाना खा.
ਬਾਹਰ ਇੰਨਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਪਿਆ, ਪਰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠਣ ਦਾ ਮਨ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ.
అన్నయ్య అంటుండేవారు, ఒకసారి ఆడపిల్ల పెళ్లి చేస్తే అప్పుడు అన్నీ తెలిసి వస్తాయని. ఏమైంది? కరెక్ట్గానే చెప్పారు.
कैसे कहूँ समझ ना आए. प्यार दिया पगला.
છે ને ફેમિલીમાં જોક છે કે એકવાર તો પાણોએ નાચી લે, પણ વિપુલભાઈ નહીં. પણ આજે શુગર ઘટી ગઈ.
हम हैं तेरे साथ हमेशा, और कहा क्या चाहे. कैसे कहूँ मैं समझ ना आए. प्यार दिया पगला.
तेरी खुशी से बढ़कर मेरे लिए और कुछ भी नहीं. Because you always want the best for your little girl, Riva, by Tanishq.
जब वेंकट को ये फिल्म दिखाई गई तो एकदम सुन हो गए. और दीपिका थी और कौन था साथ में, आई फॉरगॉट द. उपासना. तो उपासना पूछने लगी, सर क्या फीडबैक है?
I will tell the story
प्लीज
myself.
प्लीज.
Yeah, this is probably the most favorite film of my life. Across all categories, everything. It's not because I'm not saying it's a Tanishq film, therefore. It is the best film. Every time I see it, I cry. And even now, I did. This film was created for fathers with daughters. And I have two daughters, 31 and 27. And when this film was created, and Deepika Tiwari, she was the head of marketing of Tanishq at that time. Deepika and Upasana, a colleague, came to show me this film. And I saw it once, and then I asked for it to be shown again. I saw it once, again. Then I just turned towards the window and walked outside my room was there, and Deepika told Upasana, come, let's go. And they were going out, and Upasana was asking Deepika, I mean, how come Venkat never said anything about the film? Why are we going? And Deepika, who knew me very well, she said, no, Venkat is crying into the window. So that's how Upasana knew that the film was approved. But it just does not fail to move me every time I see it, and even now, because it was made with very, very deep insight about fathers and daughters.
Fantastic. So I recently read a book by Aswath Damodaran, who is the Stern school professor. Hai. He's father of valuation. In his book, the name of the book is Narratives and Numbers. So he says in the corporate world, there are two types of people. The storytellers, narration, and the others are number crunchers. But for an organization to thrive and prosper, you need an equal measure. You need both type of people, because storytellers will always get carried away, and you have to keep a tab on the numbers also. So Titan, I think, fantastic example. और आप ही के बुक में लिखा है कि there was a creative conflict between संदीप and रेवती. तो वो कहानी भी बता दीजिए सर. वो भी कहानी बता दीजिए. बहुत अच्छी, इंटरेस्टिंग है.
So we used to, Sandeep Kulali was the head of sales, marketing, retailing and all that, and Revati was the head of design for Tanishq, and colleagues for many years. And we used to launch diamond jewelry collections for Diwali every year. And Revati used to come and tell us, look, why don't we do gold jewelry collections? And gold is bought by, at that time, certainly in the industry, more than 80% of the people. And we're not making enough, gold jewelry collections. And Sandeep and I would say, no, but, there is more money to be made in diamond jewelry and all that. And she would say, look, why are you talking about profits? Talk about customers and customers' excitement. And this went on for 2 years, and we were not sort of encouraging her. She was not budging. And then one day we sort of, gave up. And finally, the first big blockbuster collection called Divyam was created for Diwali of 2015. Because of this, this creative tension that was there between two different departments, each of which is in a way expected to deliver to a particular sub-purpose of the company. One is the profit, the other is the design and the differentiation and all that. And through a continuous debate and discussion and sparring between these departments, the best things sort of emerge, which is a good thing for any organization to have that creative tension between departments, which are obviously working together finally, but in the interim they are chasing their own goals, which may appear to be at odds with the other. So how do we keep that, but at the same time converge?
So everybody knows that you love music, but do you also watch films, Hindi movies?
Yes, I do.
So
yeah, sorry?
Please continue.
I was just trying to remember which is the recent one I saw. I think it was Merry Christmas. Very different.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
And Sri Ram, I'm a fan of Sri Ram Raghavan. So I know.
Yeah. Very good script. Yeah. And that Vijay Sethupathi is now becoming a pretty popular Hindi film star of certain type of.
And for a change, Katrina acted also very well. So मैं क्या कहना चाहता था कि in business as in life, you come across two type of people. And why I asked you, do you watch films? Because I want to give an example from films. अगर आप हमारी उम्र के नौजवान कोई बैठे हैं, तो एक विधाता नाम की फिल्म आई थी, जिसमें दिलीप कुमार था और शम्मी कपूर था. तो शम्मी कपूर बोलता है सब तकदीर का खेल है, हाथों की लकीर, और जो दिलीप कुमार साहब थे वो कहते हैं कि बकवास, मैं अपनी तकदीर खुद लिखूंगा. सो इट इज तकदीर एंड तदबीर. सो which school of thought do you belong to? Number one. Number two, if two people come and apply for a job, so anybody who's focused, he knows exactly what to do. The other guy says, I will lead my life. मेरी तो destiny ऊपर वाले ने लिखी है, कहीं ना कहीं तो पहुंच ही जाऊंगा. And believe me, both types of people have been successful in life. So what is your take on this?
I believe in our ability to certainly shape things.
Okay.
And in a way, our responsibility also to shape things, as opposed to, sort of look up. I mean, there is, of course, overall some heavenly force watching over us, and maybe even karma. And I do believe also in the power of good deeds and all that. But substantially, it is in our hands to shape the things that we can become. We need to be fortunate, we need to have the right circumstances, but those are all anyway outside our control. What is in our control is what we can do, and we should maximize doing that. So that's and therefore I would look for somebody who's certainly like that, rather than, saying that whatever will happen is...
No, nobody will say directly, but you can judge people by the way they talk. So उसमें एक बहुत interesting observation है कि Tanishq is a destiny's child. It was not supposed to be born, because Titan fell short of foreign exchange, and that's why. So वो तो destiny था आपके organization का. अगर ऐसा मैं कहूँ तो आपका क्या जवाब होगा?
Yeah, sure. But
okay, so now coming to the names, Tanishq is a perfect name, and if I can correlate to this Riva, Rivaj and Viva, fantastic. जो आपके किताब में लिखा है कि the way this term was coined Tanishq, I think in the first chapter itself it comes. But there is also, I read somewhere that if you break the word Tanishq into two parts, Tan is body, Ishq is love. So Tanishq. So I think that is also one of the logical way. I don't know whether it actually happened or not. But having said that, if you can share how the genesis of names for Mia, Zoya, तो इनका नाम कैसे कॉइन किया गया, अगर आप बताएं तो?
Mia, I don't remember the how it got. I only was told, look, we have this name. How do you like it? And I loved it as soon as I heard it, and I said, let's go. And we went with that. I don't remember the background to how it came out. Zoya, I was very much part of it. So we were in a party, three of us, me and a couple of other colleagues. And in that party, we decided to, instead of having a top-end Tanishq sub-brand kind of approach, which was till then, in that party, over that conversation, we decided we should create a luxury brand from the company. So that decision we took. And then one of the colleagues, Bharat Zaveri, who's also in the industry. So Bharat was recollecting a collection that Tanishq had in 2002 or something, and the name was Zoya.
Okay.
And as soon as I heard it, I said, this is the name for the...
Love at first sight.
Yeah, luxury brand, and it
Love
became...
at first sound, I said.
It became that immediately. So I know that. Mia was shown to me and I loved it. Zoya, I heard it and I loved it.
My another question to you is, Titan is very good in storytelling, and Tanishq has told different types of story in different situations. But Zoya is, of course, we'll deal with it in detail a little bit. But Mia and your adopted child, Carrot Lane. Okay, so the storytelling part, if you can share. Mia, I just saw, it is not very heavily advertised also, the way you do, Tanishq. जो मिया का जो स्टोरी, एक स्टोरी मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी कि द हीरो विद इन यू और एवरीबडी इज अ स्टार. आई लाइक दैट. सो इफ यू कैन शेयर विथ अस द स्टोरी टेलिंग एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ कैरेट लेन एंड मिया.
I think the central thing in all this is right from beginning of Titan Company, we were very obsessed with customers and customers as people, not just as consumers of products, but customers as people, their relationships with each other, in the family, and what touches them and all that. And therefore, all the branding work, marketing work that we did right from beginning was all rooted in that. So if you recollect the gifting films that Titan had for its watches, where husband, wife, parents, children, student, teacher. In fact, there was one idea that the agency had come to me saying, when customers, people gifting a watch to a dog, to their dog. I said, no, we can't be going all that, that much. But essentially the relationships, the understanding of the nuances in relationships, what touches people, how can we really make somebody emotional, feel and all that, was a developed capability of Titan over the decades. And I think that shows in everything that we do. And like in the Mia film that you talked about, or we have launched a product called Postcards in Carrot Lane. Okay. Postcards. So this product is actually the product that if you buy a ring, there is a video that you create for your wife, for example. That video is embedded in the ring. Okay. So I gift you, you're my wife, I gift you the ring, and anytime, ever, let's say 20 years later, you want to remember your husband is not with you. You want to remember, so you just scan the ring, the video will play of 20 years back. So that kind of, it's called Postcards. That product is called Postcards, where the emotion is carried forever with that gift. So this is more, I would say, thinking about customers and people. Customers as people, right? Like one of the most powerful things that Santosh Desai, who's the social commentator, he said in a marketing conference that marketers have ended up breaking people into customer segments so much that they've forgotten that they're people to start with before they became customers. So I think, therefore, so what is Anil as a person, and how can I move him as a person before he buys a watch or a jewelry piece or whatever? I think that focus is, all the storytelling is, so when we did the second marriage film in 2013, for example, Tanishq is, and Ajoy uses a very powerful phrase today, that the women of Tanishq say that nobody gets me as well as Tanishq does. Nobody understands me as well as Tanishq does. That's what he uses to describe the power of Tanishq in a sense. And therefore, the brand becoming a mirror to her aspirations. And therefore, in 2013, it was so easy for a man to get married second time, third time, fifth time, nobody will ask questions. But a woman getting married the second time, it's a big thing, right? So we wanted to normalize that. We wanted to make women feel that it is okay to get married second time, third time. It is okay to get married with a child. From the first marriage, it's fine. So that, giving agency to women, for example, is a very powerful approach. You can call it strategy at one level, but it's also a world view that the company brings, that this is a better world. Of course, we may connect better with the customer, sell more jewelry because of that, yes, but it's also a better world that we want to move to as a country, as a society.
So you gave the very interesting example, and it's a fantastic product idea, the ring with the video. So as I already said once, so what is an experience? A memory. So I recently read a quote, sometimes you don't realize, you will never realize the value of a moment till it becomes a memory. So I said, what a fantastic idea, what a profound idea. So I said, who has written this? There is a gentleman called Dr. Seuss. And Dr. Seuss he writes for USS. And he has written books for children. So it touched my heart and suddenly it popped in my mind. So I'm sharing it with you. So now we come to the Zoya part. See, Zoya is an excellent example or a case for you to fulfill Justice Desai's dream. What was his dream? Building a Tiffany of the East. So it's a luxury brand, but I am a doubting Thomas, so I will ask you something. See, when you talk about the classical definition of a luxury brand, see, luxury is subjective. What is luxury to me, somebody may not agree. But when you're talking about a luxury brand, it has got a few characteristics. artistic value, selective distribution. There are so many other, but two of very important is the international presence. It has to be present in multiple countries for it to qualify as a luxury brand. So I'm sure, and the heritage, how many years it has been in existence. So I think Zoya, of course, I love that brand, but not much is known because I am not a target audience also, and it is gaining traction in recent years. So please share your thought process, the storytelling, the vision. Of course, we have those 2 videos which I had requested you. So please.
No, you're very right. But at the same time, not everybody could be born 100 years back. Somebody has to be born 10 years back, 20 years back. So Zoya was born only 15 years back. But it has all the makings of it, eh? And in terms of the characteristics, some of which you described, which is the artistry and exceptional detail, eye for detail and exceptional obsession for standards. In fact, I was just at the Zoya New Product Development Center in the morning. And the customer experience of, I have not seen it in any luxury store anywhere in the world, and I keep saying it in so many places I go to. It's an inclusive luxury. Zoya is a very warm, inclusive, typical luxury stores, you have people standing at the door almost daring you to enter. If you go outside India, whereas Zoya is not like that. You are welcome. Even if you're not a customer for Zoya, you're most welcome. But going back to the building of luxury, today the most discerning and demanding customers in this country for luxury products, there are so many of them who are customers of Zoya. Okay, and particularly in the last 5 years, Zoya has really scaled up, and their rating of Zoya is like there, and they're customers of Cartier, Gucci, LV, you name it, they're customers of those brands, and some of them, of course, customers of luxury jewelry brands as well. And Zoya compares very, very well in their mind with those brands which are storied brands, which are decades old, which are global. Obviously, Zoya is still Indian, it is yet to go out. But I think the notions are also changing. People are now becoming, especially in India, more and more open to these concepts. Like, what is luxury? Supposing it is here, only here, and it is something comparable to the best in the world, and it's only 15 years old, but that is whatever old. So what is the question that, they're not saying that, but I can certainly see it in their behavior, and I'm sure it's only a matter of, time before Zoya even steps out of the country and becomes much more well-known in those, circles. But all the material is there and the trajectory is already happening.
So this Zoya also falls in the pattern of Tanishq and Titan. It's a very friendly brand. If you compare, like say you mentioned Cartier, they are all snooty brands. They will not talk to you properly, they will not show you. So it's a very friendly brand, and the storytelling aspects and those videos, how you want to integrate, I'm actually looking forward to that.
Now let's see the videos.
Okay, which one you want to see first? Sonam wala or ya dusra? Do hai.
Sonam is that my embrace wala.
हाँ.
Let's
तो
play
सोनम
only
वाला
that. I
हाँ?
think.
सोनम वाला वीडियो लगाइए. दिलेश, सोनमचा वीडियो ला.
I love to be me. I feel the joy of just being me. All of my hues I celebrate. All of me I embrace. In my embrace, I'm alive.
कुछ कहना चाहोगे इसके बारे में?
So this was all about a woman in a way loving herself and embracing herself and finding a wholesome beauty within her, as opposed to looking outside for any appreciation. That, there is so much beauty within you. You know it yourself, so embrace yourself. And this is the concept behind the product. And again, so like I said, the ability to understand deeply what connects people, what connects you with yourself, I think that's also at the center of the success of the company. And it shows in many ways whenever we do things like, for example, there was a very powerful film Tanishq had done about a year and a half back called Superwoman. And I don't know how many of you have seen it, but it shows young woman, maybe mid-30s, doing a lot of things. So she's a multitasking person. So it's almost like a Durga with so many hands and juggling. The typical picture of a woman. And so it's a very predictable storyline till the end, if I can call it, where she's shown doing this, doing that. And of course, any typical superwoman kind of film would do that kind of a thing. By the time it's about to end, she's really tired of the whole thing. And then she goes home and then she looks into the camera and she admits that, look, I'm tired. And I'm this, I'm that. I'm disappointed. Because she loses some pitch at work that she was doing. So it ends, and then the question is asked, this superwoman, is it an appreciation or is it an expectation? And suddenly you realize, my God, we have made this into such that a woman can do so many things. She can be a deadly mom, she can be a deadly wife, she can be a deadly career woman. So she can be many things. So is that, actually, are you appreciating her, or itna bada expectation bana rakha hai that she has to really struggle to perform that? Which is a deep insight when you really think about it. And then when you pull it out and Tanishq builds that story, that women say, nobody gets me like Tanishq does. So this is another example of that kind of.
Second video, उसमें तो फिरंग औरत है, इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ.
I don't know anything about, I was not responsible for that. For choosing a firang aurat.
नहीं, कुछ thought process तो होगा ना. You want me to show that video?
That you can show, but for everything you show, I don't have to reply.
चलो. No, I thought you will say that we want to be a global brand, or want to international brand.
Nothing like that.
Nilesh, वो last वाला video बजाओ. But it has come out really well. Fantastic. Hats off to the team who have conceptualized and executed it. हाँ, यही वाला.
Majestic, it emerges. Majestic, a journey, poetic to the beyond. She glistens and swells and journeys on. She moves so swiftly, her fervor flows freely, cascading with grace, journeying on. Her dreams take flight, she leaps, she rises so high, oh so high. She glides and soars and journeys on.
हमारी गुफ्तगू जारी रहेगी, लेकिन I think we can take one question and one opinion. But please restrict yourself to the topics that we have already covered. आगे मत बढ़ना, fast forward मत करना. Any volunteers? Anybody would like to ask? Please. Is it a question or an opinion?
So, compliment and a question.
Okay. Please, isko mic.
Hi, sir.
Please introduce yourself because they'll.
My name is Dipankar Jain. I'm from Ludhiana. We have a family-owned business store of jewelry, of course. The compliment is that thank you so much for creating something so good that we as family jewelers look up to it. You know, many people consider brands as competition, but wherein it comes to Tanishq, I actually look up to it as a Bible, wherein if I aspire to be something in my own industry, I want to be something like Tanishq. So thank you so much for creating something so amazing. And my question is, sir, what is it that makes Tanishq earn the margins that it does as opposed to the family jewelers? Because in general, the markups are much higher, which is a good thing, of course. But what is it that makes the brand earn those markups is my question.
The single biggest thing would be the creation of a brand as opposed to a product which has got material sitting inside, which you ask for the breakup, and then you know how much is diamond, how much is gold, and how much is the making. And if that's all it is, then your ability to command the premium is in every other category. You don't, in a 3 crore car, for example, you don't ask those questions about the material, how much is steel, how much is leather or plastic or whatever it is, right? It's a 3 crores. I mean, finally that Maybach is a Maybach. And therefore, I mean, why can't jewelry be like that? And so that is at the center of in a way, the formula for that. And of course, there are so many things which have made that formula come about, including this connection. Finally, like every film that you have seen and what we have done over the 25 years, to make the woman feel that Tanishq is, one is the desire for example, if you see the 2 different films of Zoya, one is a little more about the desire for Zoya, and the other is about the feeling for Zoya. It's a little bit intellect versus emotion kind of difference. So, for example, we have a very beautiful film which Gulzar wrote. The lyrics Gulzar wrote for Tanishq. And it's a very beautiful, very sensual film with Deepika Padukone. So when you see that film, it's all about the allure of Tanishq.
Divyam? No. Divyam?
No. It's not. It is some other collection. It's a diamond collection. So it's about the allure. It's about, the real sensory appeal of Tanishq. If you see that Riva film that you saw, it's about heart-tugging, the feeling of the father and maybe a daughter for the father. So it's all multi-dimensional, the way you are touching. One is sensorial, the other is emotional. So all these add value to that branding, where you are no longer evaluating it on the basis of how much gold, how much diamond. So that is like Tiffany. Why is Tiffany the same diamond in Tiffany as opposed to Signet or Jared's? Will be much more expensive. But people are buying because of the brand that Tiffany is. So it's the branding which is...
Thank you. And a part question with this is that do you think that Tanishq would still be Tanishq had it not fallen under the Tata group or that branch of thing? Because many clients who we talk to, Tata ka bharosa is always there. So, that is something which goes on in India only.
Meaning, could Tanishq have been successful without Tata?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah, that's...
No. It would not have been successful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody? Yes. Avinash ji. So we'll take 2 questions, then आगे बढ़ाते हैं कहानी, फिर से सवाल जवाब होंगे. हाँ, please. Please.
Hi, this is Avinash Gupta from Hyderabad, Mamraj Musadilal Jewellers. I will continue this particular aspect only. As you have said, if it would not have been Tata, Tanishq would not have been what Tanishq could have been. Now I am asking a question. Suppose a brand which is a newly born brand or newly born people who wants to set up a brand. What is that message you want to give to those people who wants to work on ethics and they want to create a brand in this competitive world by not diluting and not reducing them in the competition?
The story of Tanishq is now from 1996. So the world in 1996 was very different. So when I say, could Tanishq have been Tanishq without Tata? It also is in that context of 1996. We are in 2024, right? Can a brand today be born and be like a Tanishq, let's say 25 years from now? It's very possible. The world has also changed. The industry situation has changed. The kind of purity challenges that were certainly there in 1996 are much less there, even though I am quite surprised because we keep exchanging jewelry every day and it is still 19.5 carat. So I'm still on that front, whatever. But certainly the supply side on the purity plus professionalizing of the industry and all that. Therefore, it is possible to do in a way by yourself, if I can call it that. Because even what is jewelry? Jewelry is now becoming more and more wearable. It is less about Stridhan. It is less about, relatively speaking, store of value. It's more about status. Therefore, the assurance that the Tatas gave are relatively less important. But at the same time, because it is a store of value, I buy something worth 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, I want a good part of it be there when I need it, right? That is not going to go away maybe for a couple of generations at least. So in that sense, will this company be there? Like customers have told me that we know, one is the purity of Tanishq. We know that the Tatas will be there 100 years from now. Therefore, this jewelry that I am taking away is that trust. I don't know who can give that. I don't know who can give that. But if you're not playing in that part of the market, supposing you're playing in less than 1 lakh, for example, then people may not want that assurance 100 years later. But then that market may not be that big for 50,000 crores and all that. But what you need to do is you need to connect with the customer in a way that makes total sense for her. And you need to create an organization which keeps ethics, integrity, employees as people, partners as true partners and not just naam ke vaste partners. If you do all that, then you can certainly create a very, very powerful organization, a big leader in its context. It may not be this big because of what I'm saying, but certainly a big leader in the less than certain price or whatever. But I think in a way a very, very human organization. I think that's the most important part of where every employee is valued, respected. That the first thing that he started with that, and I've said that in the book, that how does it matter that anybody speaks English? I mean, what does it matter? If you can make a beautiful jewelry, or you can create a beautiful app, you can create a beautiful operational process, and all you know is Gujarati, all you know is Bengali, all you know is Tamil. How does it matter? So how much are we giving importance to college degree and all that sort of show versus the real thing? And therefore respecting people for what they're actually bringing to the table. And sharing the prosperity in an equitable manner with how much are the owners keeping it to themselves, the money? How much are they sharing it with the karigar? Are the owners going to where the karigars are there making the jewelry? Do they even know what terrible conditions, even today, what terrible conditions in which the jewelry is actually made? But how much money am I keeping as a retailer, brand owner, versus am I giving it, is my responsibility to give something of that to them, and even to my vendor partners. And so.
Ashish ji?
I don't know if it was a, yeah.
Hi. I had a question on innovation. Are you going to cover it later?
No, please.
Okay. The leadership talks lessons on innovation. My question to you is, building an organization which has innovation at the core or is at cutting edge in innovation is easier said than done. But what is it, if you can give us 2-3 thumb rules that if you employ them, you'll go closer to an organization which focuses on innovation?
Let me give you a grassroots kind of very institutionalized process we have. It's called Kaizen Mela. And when all of you in manufacturing know what Kaizen is. So one of the leaders in Titan, a guy called Shauman Bhaumik, who is now the MD of Carrot Lane. Shauman was a manufacturing guy for a long time in jewelry. And Shauman moved into retail of Tanishq. He headed in 2005 and he brought with him the Kaizen as a concept into retail. And over the last 2 decades, it's really become, I would say, a world-class benchmark practice. What it does is that at scale, we are talking about now thousands and thousands of people who are working in showrooms. Thousands and thousands of them look at opportunities for improvement around them. It could be a problem which comes in the way of their operating process, or it could be a customer experience opportunity to delight somebody. It could be an opportunity to grow sales by looking at the opportunities within whatever it is. But they identify a problem, work on a solution, implement the solution, and then sometimes it automatically gets scaled up. But we have this program called a National Kaizen Mela, which has now become and we did it digitally during COVID, and now it's become a physical digital thing, where thousands participate. And 2 weeks back, we had the top 24 teams come to Bangalore. They set up stalls in the campus. So I go, Ajoy goes, all of us visit those stalls, and there is a jury which we put together with some outside people as well. They judge, and they get winners and all that. And many of the Kaizens get scaled. Each division, because it's across from eye care to watches to wearables to jewelry, each business has got Kaizens. And they get simply scaled up in the respective divisions. So it is a super powerful, it has got double benefit. One is the innovation side, because I mean, some of the ideas are just unbelievable. Unbelievable is unbelievable. We get so energized, motivated just by attending and seeing the passion of those people. And like I said, it'll be, in fact, this one I attended the first time in my life. That guy presented to me in Telugu. And my wife is Telugu, but I've not learned enough Telugu. So he presented his entire story, and that entire story was is a watch thing. There are watches most watches are loaded from the back, and some watches are loaded from the front, okay? Which means you have to remove the glass for you to remove the dial and movement and all that. So it's a more complex process that the glass can break, leading to waste and all that. So this was the problem that he had. And he had engineered and manufactured a pump to actually pop. That glass would just pop out like that. He demonstrated that to me and to everybody in Telugu. Unbelievable innovation. Very small. Not a breakthrough like that. But I'm just talking about, there is so much of emphasis on breakthrough and all that, but grassroots scale innovation to solve all kinds of daily and otherwise problems is a very powerful idea. And it's a huge employee engagement thing as well. Because employees just love the fact that the company is enabling them to fulfill their full potential. They love the company for that as well and stay with you longer and all that.
Ashish bhai, when you talk about...
The family wala?
नहीं तो आपने जो innovation की बात की ना, see, we have not said it in many ways, but innovation is a mindset. You can't be innovative only in one particular area when you're talking about an organization. So when we are talking about Titan, the way people are managed, the way the communication is managed, the way cost cutting is done, everything is innovative about them. So Rajesh, you have to go. You want to ask a question? Yeah, please. Give him the mic.
Hello. My name is Rajesh Baid. I'm from Bombay. We often talk about Signet in the US when we look at the various models they are working in. We talk about Chow Tai Fook in China, the largest number of network. Tanishq has, I think, covered all the spectrum of the jewelry, whether it's wearable to the treasure trove, and now we just spoke about the high jewelry concept of Zoya as well. Now, the common thing between the three brands is that De Beers is partner to all three of them. Recently, you did the partnership with De Beers. So certainly, of course, the corner question in my mind is that is it to enlarge the network because you're also present in Gulf and the US? So is it a step towards becoming the largest retailer in the world? If yes, then how soon do you see that happening?
I don't have a specific answer to your question on what all that entails. It's just that it's natural for an organization like De Beers to partner with a brand like Tanishq in a way reconfirming the values of diamonds. There's a lot of talk in the air about diamonds and all that, and this partnership is to sort of reinforce that. How exactly it will blossom, we'll see that, and I'm also not the right person to talk about that, so I will sort of duck that question. Yeah.
तो सर आगे बढ़ते हैं, आपका सवाल लेंगे. तो what was I wanted to ask you? There is a book whose title is okay, sorry, I remembered now what I wanted to ask you. जब इंटरव्यू में देखो एक पैटर्न होता है, इंटरव्यूअर सवाल पूछता है और आखिरी का सवाल क्या होता है? मिस्टर वेंकट, वेयर डू यू सी योरसेल्फ 5 years फ्रॉम नाउ? ये एक सवाल है, और दूसरा भी सवाल पूछ ही लेता हूँ सो दैट यू कैन, रिलेटेड है दोनों. और दूसरा मैंने एक बहुत अच्छी किताब पढ़ी थी, ऑथर इज क्लेटन क्रिस्टनसन. द टाइटल ऑफ द बुक, इफ आई रिमेंबर करेक्टली, इज हाउ डू यू मेजर योर लाइफ. सो दीज आर माई 2 क्वेश्चन. जो बुक का नाम भी, बुक का जो नाम है वही मेरा सवाल है. तो ये 2 सवाल के जवाब आप देंगे तो.
I'm actually going to be retiring in another 15 months, and so life after that is going to be very different for me.
Yes.
Substantially less of the corporate world in my life, and I want to do many other things, which I've done a little bit of here, there, like that, but spend a fair amount of time to each one, and also some new things. But it'll be so much personal as opposed to work. So that's where I'll be 5 years from now.
How would you measure your life?
I think certainly the joy that I have had being with people. The most beautiful thing about Titan, and particularly because of Tanishq, in the last 20 years. Before that, some of my memories are less lucid. But certainly in the last 20 years, the opportunity to be with thousands and thousands of people. Like we have this very beautiful program with the Karigars that we did about 6 months back in Imagica, outside Bombay. So we had 1,600 Karigars from 7 or 10 of our vendor partners in the Bombay area. And I spend the full day with them, and it's been happening for 7-8 years now. And the joy of being with Karigars like that at scale, or with our RSOs, the people who sell our jewelry. We have a program called Face to Face, which is like a party, annual party with them. Or in small towns, like I was in Rajkot, with Nilesh and others, just a month back in Junagadh, having breakfast with Deepak Chokshi of CVM and family. So I've been to so many homes of vendor partners, franchisee partners, all over India, from Siliguri to Dibrugarh to Pathankot, you name the place, I've been there. So that joy of being with people, and we are all one huge family. This Mr. Desai, concept, Ashish, what you said, that is actually so real today, and everyone thinks, and we so easily use the word family in Titan. And everybody uses it. Even a 22-year-old Gen Z. And I was wondering, are they like that? But I keep meeting them as soon as they join, some 2 months later. So she told me, one architect who's in our store set up, she said, sir, it feels like family. So I said, wow, even a Gen Z is saying family, so we must be doing something right. So this being with thousands and thousands of people is the most, what was the title of the book again? The Christian
How will you
Sankar?
measure your life?
Yeah. So the fun I've had certainly with them, the joy that they have given me, because I was with some 50, 60 people this morning, and we have 2 development centers in Andheri. So I was there for the first time. I went there, and I mean, it just blew me. And we have some 30, 40 karigars also there making our high jewelry. The energy, the passion, their enthusiasm, their wanting to make Tanishq something else, that just blew my mind. And so with that kind of a power, actually nothing can stop. When there are 70,000 people who are feeling that they own the company, own the brand, you don't need strategy, almost like that. Obviously you need some direction, but they will just power their way to that manzil, to mil hi jayega.
So I have 2 questions. One is a very humorous one. आप in your growing up years, school या college में आप विविध भारती सुनते थे?
No.
नहीं, कभी नहीं. I used to listen to विविध भारती.
Because I was in Tamil Nadu and Hindi music was not allowed.
Okay. The point which I want to make is you famously said in your book that if I don't travel, I have no job to do. So you've been to various small places and all. So when I was growing up, I used to listen to विविध भारती. उसमें 2 शहर के नाम आते थे, झुमरी तलैया, मारवाड़ मुंडवा. Have you been to these places? Have you heard about them?
Yeah, Jumri Talaya, which is the second one?
Marwad Mundwa.
No. Jumri Talaya, of course, I've heard.
Okay.
And I think I've been somewhere close by, but I've not been.
Okay.
The second one I have not heard.
So now the serious question is like this, that you are a very goody person. ये आपकी जो किताब है ना, सबकी तारीफ कर दी आपने. हाँ, अजय की तारीफ कर दी, फिर सबकी. और जो कहानी में नैरेटिव में नहीं आए, वो पीछे देखोगे आप, सबके नाम है, सबने अच्छा काम किया. ये एक चीज है. ये तो भाई आपने फिर क्या काम किया, नंबर 1. और दूसरी बात ये है कि एक दिलचस्प
इनको संभाला.
नहीं, दूसरा एक दिलचस्प किस्सा ऐसा है कि आई वॉज वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट वंस टू बाय दिस बुक. आई प्री ऑर्डर्ड द बुक एंड व्हाइल आई वॉज रीडिंग, मैंने पीछे देखा शिवराम का नाम है. आपने उसका जिक्र किया है, मैंने उसका फोटो लिया, वो भेज दिया उसको. दैट गाय वॉज सपोज टू ट्रैवल टू शिकागो. तो बोलता है आई वॉन्ट टू रीड इट बट आई हैव टू मीट माई डॉटर, आई एम कैचिंग अ फ्लाइट. एंड ही केम बैक फ्रॉम हिज हॉलीडे एंड ही सेज, यू नो व्हाट, वेंकट सेंड मी एन ऑटोग्राफ्ड कॉपी. देखो, जो आदमी पहले टीम में था अब नहीं है, लेकिन उसका भी ख्याल रखते हैं. दूसरी एक अहम बात ऐसी है कि सर ने बताया नहीं, कहीं भी खुद के बारे में लिखा ही नहीं है, लेकिन सब दुनिया को पता है कि इनकी फिलांथ्रोपी जो एक्टिविटीज़ है उसका भी जिक्र नहीं किया. तो इनका जिक्र तो करना चाहिए सर. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है, सबकी तारीफ कर रहे, खुद की भी तो करो.
But finally I am the author also, right? So how can I appreciate myself in any?
सर हमारी इंडस्ट्री में तो सब मैंने किया बोलते हैं.
And in true Titan spirit, it is the people of Titan and more who are not mentioned also in the book, because of whom Titan is what it is, Tanishq is what it is. So they truly deserve what is there in the book.
लेकिन आपकी फिलांथ्रोपी के बारे में इसलिए मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि it will set an example. Somebody may want to emulate you. तो अगर आप कहें तो बनती है ना सर बात.
I think it's all to do with your view about money and what money means to you, and how easily you can be satisfied in life if money and whatever money can buy doesn't mean much, right? And I would say that's at the center of at least my thinking, and the joy that comes from simple things, sometimes things which are free. By that I mean, you stand in a rain and the rain is free. and you feel the joy of standing in the rain. Just a small example of things which actually are free and give you a lot of joy. And if you reflect on what really gives you true joy, happiness, versus what you think is giving you joy, and therefore you're acquiring, and you're also, money creates its own race, and that race is the other person, and the bigger car and the bigger bungalow, and when you realize that perhaps there is only one Mukesh Ambani who may not be looking forward to see somebody ahead, and wo bhi aajkal ho jata hai. There are some people ahead, behind Mukesh bhai also, but at least for him there is nobody in the front. For everybody else, almost everybody else, there is somebody ahead of us, and therefore if we keep worrying about that, then you have enough and more application for the money you have. Whereas if you don't, suddenly you have a lot of money to do other things. And you also find that it's easy to be very happy in a small house, in an old car, in a holiday that takes to your place where nobody has heard of. And you're not able to maybe post on Insta with the name, with the recognition, whatever.
He's a social person but not a social media person. तो अकाउंट ही नहीं है इनका तो. So on a profound note, मैं आपको सवाल पूछता हूँ. अभी we have come towards the end of our conversation. तो ये legacy जो कहते हैं ना, so would you like to leave behind a legacy? What are your thoughts on leaving behind a legacy and achieving a purpose in life? तो थोड़ा esoteric concept है, तो आप जरा इस पर.
I feel that anybody who is thinking about leaving a legacy is taking herself or himself a little too seriously.
Okay.
And only then, just like you are somebody else and everybody else is there and you are leaving some. So I am just one of the people in Titan. There are a lot of people. There are actually 75.
Titan थोड़ी देर के लिए भूल जाओ ना.
No, but legacy is about company only. What other legacy you are talking about?
Okay.
So it's about the company where I am, and I am going to leave. Not next year end. So there is no such. We have been travelers for so many years. Like he and I have been together for nearly 34 years now. So many people in the company, and we've just keep on improving that company, and particularly the old stakeholder thing. Are we becoming a better and better stakeholder company, including the impact we leave on the planet, the services we are able to do to deserving communities which don't have money. Like India is a very poor country. And even the work we do we have just begun a very powerful program for the weaver. We are into the sari business, in case some of you are not aware. We have a beautiful brand called Taneira, which is a sari brand. We have 3 or 4 stores in Mumbai. And what we have done, and which we take a lot of pride in, the whole Karigar program in the jewelry business, we want to create a similar impact with the weavers. So we have a program called Weaver Shala, which is like a microcosm, similar concept like a Karigar Park that we have, to give that person dignity, to introduce, modern processes of, even to make the loom easy to work with, make it slightly smaller, not so much to reach, because your shoulders are affected, your back is broken by the time you're 50 or whatever it is. So therefore make Titan a better and better company has been our journey. So in that there is no my legacy, it's our collective achievement which will continue, which will keep improving after so there is no legacy that I have in mind at all.
So outside the organization ecosystem, I am just sharing thoughts. I have read something. See, every person wants to leave behind a legacy. You are a fan of Kishore Kumar and Rafi Saab. So they really don't have to do anything much, because they are creating such body of work that for the next 1,000 years they will be remembered. But people who are in business, they want to donate money, build temples. Why? They should be remembered in posterity. So I read a fantastic book. It is by Ernest Becker. The name of the book is The Denial of Death. This man, he won the Pulitzer Prize. He expired long back. What he says in the book, that every person is aware that he is a mortal, but he doesn't want to admit. What he says, what he thinks, hey, I am alive, but I may die anytime soon. So there are two types of people. What happens is, like you witnessed in COVID, revenge buying. आज का जीना है, आज है, मुझे आज खरीदने दो, कल का पता नहीं है. So people who, it all depends on your genetic makeup. You know, you will find that racial tensions all come to the fore during times of crisis. This is just one thing which I thought I would share. I don't know, I may be blabbering, but what do you think about that? Do you think there is some logic to what this theory has to say?
No, I don't know. I don't know whether everyone necessarily wants to leave a legacy.
Okay.
I certainly don't feel like that, so that's the best answer I can give.
थैंक यू सो मच. बहुत मज़ा है आपसे बात करते हुए. मैं आपके लिए ना एक छोटा सा तोहफा लाया हूँ. आप देख लीजिए, आपको पसंद आता है. खोलिए, हम सबके सामने खोलिए. Show it to them. Sir, I am very selfish person. Huh?
His birthplace is on my, I keep going very close to his birthplace, but somehow, even last month I was in Indore, but being so busy at work, don't fursat nahi milta, but it is very much 2026 onwards, very much on my bucket list to go to his birthplace.
Picture abhi baki hai, jana nahi. Sir,
Did you know, when I came to know recently, I don't know if it is true, but I think it is true, that Hrishikesh Mukherjee was the director of Anand?
Yes.
Yeah. So Rishida had finalized Kishore Kumar to play Rajesh Khanna's role.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
So it was so weird, that story, that's why but whatever, I remember reading it somewhere. So Gulzar wrote about this. So Hrishikesh Mukherjee has finalized Kishore Kumar, and one day Kishore Kumar landed up in the studio, clean shaven like you and me. Can you believe it?
Okay.
For some, all of us have read Kishore Kumar, a little crazy about some things or the other, right? And he just came clean shaven like that, and the shooting was, abhi, day after tomorrow it has to start Anand ka shooting. And then Rishida was like, what the hell do I do now? And then he got Rajesh Khanna he signed up Rajesh Khanna for this. I said, wow, what a, it sounded so made up kind of thing, but knowing Kishore Kumar, I was not too surprised also. So maybe you can do, since you know all these people in this world, you can find out if it's
आपको
true.
ये किताब पसंद आई?
Yeah, of course.
तो सर रिटर्न गिफ्ट चाहिए, किशोर कुमार का एक गाना ही गा दीजिए प्लीज. तालियां बजाओ यार प्लीज.
दिए जलते हैं, फूल खिलते हैं, दिए जलते हैं, फूल खिलते हैं, बड़ी मुश्किल से मगर दुनिया में दोस्त मिलते हैं, दिए जलते हैं. जब जिस वक्त किसी का यार जुदा होता है, कुछ ना पूछो यारों, दिल का हाल बुरा होता है. जब जिस वक्त किसी का यार जुदा होता है, कुछ ना पूछो यारों, दिल का हाल बुरा होता है. दिल पे यादों के जैसे तीर चलते हैं, दिए जलते हैं, फूल खिलते हैं, बड़ी मुश्किल से मगर दुनिया में दोस्त मिलते हैं, दिए जलते हैं.
We're comfortable. So, by GJC guys, you want to felicitate? कुछ देना चाहते हो? Please come. And those who have asked questions, please join. We'll have a photo op. Please. अरे इनका रह गया. अच्छा पूछ लीजिए. चलिए. Sorry हाँ संजय. लेकिन आपने 3 सवाल थे, एक ही पूछना.
एक ही पूछना. हाँ सर.
Okay, ले लेते हैं. टाइम है अपने पास.
So I want an honest answer. So, what scares Tanishq as a brand? And what challenges or risks you might face in the future? And what are you doing to get prepared for it?
It's not what scares Tanishq. Honestly, I mean, we're not like that. We don't really worry like that. But what we are certainly thinking about, focusing on, is competition. Because clearly Tanishq has shown the way to a lot of jewelry entrepreneurs, jewelry companies, like he is saying from all the way from Ludhiana, how much value can be created. And I'm not talking only about monetary value, but how much of customer value, partner value, you name it, how much value can be created for everybody in that ecosystem. And therefore, and of course, how much of financial value can also be, because I'm sure for the Birlas to get in, recently, it is, I'm sure the financial value, potential that. So therefore, today, and because the jewelry product is also relatively low barrier of entry, because it's not a product of deep technology, which like in watches, we have that hold. In jewelry, you can enter, anybody can enter and start tomorrow, making a good piece. It's not that difficult. But make a really beautiful piece is not that easy either. So therefore, the intensity of competition, both local, regional, national, has been, and particularly in the last 5 years, really risen. And that certainly poses a challenge for Tanishq, without doubt. That is what we are all the time in discussion on, and how do we keep increasing the gap between because there is a gap. Without doubt, there is a gap in the brand, there's a gap in the store experience and so on. But the gap has to be kept like that. So our focus, Ajoy and team more, so I'm just watching with admiration what they do, right? Their focus is to keep the customer in the center of everything they do and keep that gap and try and increase that gap so that we continue to prosper like we have done.
You have a question?
Sir, निजी क्वेश्चन है. आप CEO बनने के बाद रतन टाटा जी से मिले?
एक बार. And the most beautiful thing about him is, we have a ultra slim mechanical watch. I had gone there to his house to gift him that watch. This is in 22. And he, in Kolaba, to his house. So I was waiting in the living room and he was some 30 or 40 seconds late. I mean, by the watch, right? Huh? He came down and said, Venkat, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. 40 seconds. So I said, sir, what is this? And then after spending some 30 minutes, I said, I've taken so much of his time. I was about to leave. He said, why are you in a hurry? Just sit, spend some 10 more minutes, talk to me and go. So like.
So sweet.
Mysore, 29th of November. I mean, I happen to be in Mysore. Acha, Tanishq ka branch. No, I'm going into the.
अच्छा, बिफोर यू आस्क द क्वेश्चन मैं भूल जाऊंगा, बुढ़ा आदमी हूँ. आपने बहुत अहम बात की फैमिली मेंबर के बारे में. फैमिली, जस्टिस देसाई सेड यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ द फैमिली. तो इफ आई हैव टू शेयर माय 2 बिट्स ऑन इट, ये जीजेसी वाले मुझे फैमिली मेंबर समझते हैं और हमेशा मुझे बुलाते हैं. तो कभी कभी नहीं बुलाते हैं तो मैं बोलता हूँ मुझे ये करना है तो मना नहीं करते. जैसे आपको बुलाना उनके एजेंडा में नहीं था, मैंने बोला बुलाऊं तो बोला हाँ बुलाओ, तो दे ऑलवेज सपोर्ट मी. थैंक यू वेरी मच द एंटायर GJC टीम. So please ask.
Sure. Actually, my time goes more in the new businesses because the established, like jewelry is a very established business. Watches is even longer. I plus and specs business. So they are very, very mature. There are challenges, of course, but they're very mature. And they're more seasoned leaders and leadership depth. So, and the new businesses need my support, need my time, need my sponsorship. So I spend more of my time in new, like international perfumes, saris, and less on jewelry or watches. That's how my time goes.
Hello. Apart from corporate jewelers, which family jewelers brand you like most?
I'm familiar with Ganjam. I like, and yeah, I like the family also. Yeah, they're from Mysore. Yeah, I like GRT. I'm close to the MDs, Radha, and so I like this side. I've not. I mean, I've met Ashish once or something like that. So I'm not that familiar. But in the south, certainly Ganjam and GRT.
Thank you.
And very ethical and very.
Yes.
You know. Of course, yes.
तो देखो मैंने सर को वादा किया था कि 5 बजे यहाँ से निकलना है, अपने पास 10 मिनट है, तो अभी आपको जो फेलिसिटेशन करना है.
Sir, can I ask one question?
1 minute?
Yeah, just 1 minute. Sir, I just want to know one thing about the online sales, the future, what you're looking in Tanishq. What is the driving engine for Tanishq to prosper so much, not on store, but even the online? I see the growth and the prosperity with so many brands that you have. So what is your comment for the young generation, sir? Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, our portfolio is now quite, broad, and particularly with Mia and Carrot Lane, from that point of view, what you're saying. So in those brands, the direct online sale is high and climbing. Whereas with Tanishq, because of the nature of the brand, the nature of the customer, and also wedding, group purchase, high ticket, the online sale is lower but rising. But the omni-channel is very high. The sales are sort of set up on the website, call center, brought to the store, connected with the customer. Unfortunately, we had invested in a lot of these technologies in 2016-17. All that came in very handy during COVID. And the team, Ajoy's team really capitalized on that and have built a very big omni-channel power engine today to whatever the customer wants, we can take her in that way through the thing.
So, Sanjay, Deepankar, please, we'll have a photo op. You also come. Those who ask questions, please join us on stage. You are entitled to a book autographed by Venkat himself. नहीं तो आप स्पॉन्सर करते तो मैं उनको बोलता. और हाँ, एक कॉपीज ले आओ जरा बेटा. नहीं, फोटो ऑप तो करते हैं ना. फोटो अजय, प्लीज जॉइन अस. फोटो ऑप. या अरे आ जाओ ना सर.